Welcome to Groundwork, a podcast from McLanahan Corporation to talk about key material processing topics. From agriculture to mining to material recycling, we'll discuss the best ways to process the raw materials that power the world, because if it's not grown, it's mined. Hi there, my name's David Hunter. I am Business Line Director for McLanahan Aggregate Systems. I've been with the company nearly 5 years now. I previously worked for another competitor within the industry for 4 years prior. And today with me, I have my colleague, Rick Madara. And Rick, I'll let you do your own intro.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, David. My name is Rick Madara. I'm Senior Director of Sales here at McLanahan. Let me tell them about my gray hair. I've been here for, I think, going on 27 years now. Out of our, I guess I'll call it our world headquarters here in a frigid central PA, where I think it's about 7 degrees outside. And David, I don't know what that translates into Celsius. You'll have to figure that out.
But Sub-zero in Celsius, I think. Yeah, we had a frosty morning this morning, which was about sort of maybe 2-3 degrees Celsius. So probably a little bit warmer than you, but by no means warm.
Yeah, it's chilly.
So we're here today to look back on the aggregate and probably more the aggregate than the mining industries in 2025. We were due to have our colleague Lee Hillier join us, but unfortunately he's unavailable. So we'll maybe touch on some of the mining side of the business in Lee's absence. But I suppose, Rick, if you want to start us off, what were your biggest takeaways in the aggregate industry in 2025?
As far as the aggregate industry is concerned, I think it's still very active, still very busy. A lot of returning customers, a lot of new projects. This industry it has its peaks and valleys for sure, but it's been pretty steady, and we'll certainly take it. So on the mineral side, David, I think we are seeing some different trends there. I would say that gold and lithium is big right now, and we expect that to be very strong in 2026 as well. So we do see the mining, or what we call the mineral market, to increase in 2026 a little bit from what happened in 2025. The only other thing I will say that we're doing a lot of feasibility studies right now for rare earth stuff. Now that stuff we won't see that affect anything for several years. That's just how the mining industry works. But it is we've had several inquiries come in about rare earth stuff here in North America that we're certainly working on, and we'll have to see where that goes.
We've continued to have a fairly steady year, in Europe as a whole. We've really woken up over the last couple of years. And again, that doesn't just cover the aggregate sector. There's a lot of projects going on in the mineral sector there as well. I was out at the mining show in Dubai about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that show caters to all of the mineral processing industry, be it aggregates, mining, so on and so forth. And that was a really, really good show. We had loads of interest there. You can see, probably the sleeping giant that has awoken would be Saudi Arabia. And there's loads of opportunity in the Middle East, particularly in Saudi. And I think that's going to continue into 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, and hopefully that's the trend. You see some of these areas that get really slow, and other areas pick up, and that's why it's important to be a global company, that you can kind of follow that activity as it comes in. And the one thing, David, I wanted to ask you about is, and you guys over in Europe, it's much more, I'll call it popular or much more interest in it, which is gaining a huge popularity here in the States, is the C&D recycle type stuff. And I know that you guys have been doing it for a long time, and you've been around it for a long time, even in your previous life. And we're just seeing that really take off here. We're always going to tear down buildings. We're always going to tear up roads, and if we can reuse that stuff, that's a win for everybody. So can you just explain a little bit what that industry is all about?
As you mentioned, Rick, it's really about taking material that's demolished, or construction demolition material that's a building's been torn down, a road's been ripped up, taking that material and reprocessing it for use. So you can reuse any of the aggregates, most if not all of the sand. Obviously you've got to meet certain criteria in terms of contamination or contaminants within the material. But that's something that the UK, I think, is probably ahead of most of the Europe in that respect. They've been doing it here for years. Again, more often than not, driven by legislation. Legislation seems to drive that kind of change. Tariffs, levies, etc. But I mean, we've put a couple of C&D type plants into the UK market over recent years, and again, that's probably an area where we still have a lot of inquiries. Earlier this year, we commissioned what we call a trommel fines washing plant, which is essentially, they call it trommel fines, but it's essentially skip waste. Builders hire a skip. They throw a lot of construction demolition waste recycled material in there. It's then taken away by the skip company. The company that we work with is a company called Sun Enviro, and they actually, they are a skip hire company, but they've also set up their own processing plant. So they are their own customer, if you like, for material. So they're taking that material in through the gate, processing it through a McLanahan wash plant, and then they're then producing 3 different sized washed aggregates and then a SAM product. Now, again, some of those products, maybe you wouldn't use it in load bearing concrete. However, you can use it as a fill or a base material, or like a pipe bedding. So there's different markets around the world we're seeing are waking up to this idea. And again, that's to me one of the next big things in continental Europe as well. We're seeing a lot of inquiries and a lot of equipment going into continental Europe for what we call C&D recycled plants. But there's so many different types of material that can be reprocessed, and so different ways of doing it. You can go to the nth degree and have a really, really clear, pure material, but then if you don't have a market for it, the cost of production doesn't necessarily justify going that far.
Yeah, and what kind of opened my eyes up, David, for obviously you have companies, and that's all they do is C&D recycle stuff, and that's all they do, and they've been around for a long time. And but what we're seeing here in the States is our what I'll call our I don't want to say house customers, but customers that have returned to us for a number of years. They're in the construction aggregate industry that just mine virgin aggregates. They're getting involved in that now too, so they see the value in that, and it is the right thing to do, right? Like I said, if you can take something that's trash or that's bad or that's not good and turn it into something good, like I said, that's better for everybody. So there's even, and like you said, some of the government, some of it is regulation, legislation, but a lot of it is these producers that are interested in sustainability and wanting to make. Everyone thinks that you say mining, they think that we're destroying the planet, right? And that's not the case. And we have to be good neighbors and do what's right for our families and their future generations. And they're certainly looking into that. And we're getting so many. It seems like every year there's requests are getting more and more. And what's I'm seeing as a trend is it's coming from what have been past nothing but aggregate producers from virgin aggregates to now looking into this market and doing some of this recycling of material.
And that's the thing, a lot of the equipment that you use is the same equipment that you would have traditionally used to process virgin aggregate. You might need to upgrade some of it, or maybe have a few design modifications, but I mean it's traditionally the same. So you have virgin aggregate producers that maybe have the know-how of how to handle material, how to process material, and quite often it's those kind of companies that are getting into it. They already have the space, they already have the knowledge, the expertise, most if not all of the equipment, and again, so it's another source of revenue for them. So these guys are usually charging a gate fee to take material in, and then they're able to sell it back out. So they're actually able to get it at both ends. And again, they're diverting that away from landfill. And, economically, as long as they can take that in for less than somebody is charged to put it to landfill, then that's typically when it stacks up. And then, as you say, the probably the more important part is being good neighbors and, looking after the planet, reduce, reuse, recycle, that old mantra.
Yeah, we got to do our part. But I expect for 2026 to see an increase in that simply because of some projects we know they're going to break, and some of these bigger industries that are taking off that have it in the past, like gold, lithium, and those sorts of things. My expectation is the aggregate industry to be very similar to what it was in 2025. So I think it's going to be another good year for us. But we got to do our part here too. Like you said before, we have tariffs to worry about. That's an everyday, constant. I don't want to say struggle, but evaluation. It evolves. We're getting through it, and the customers. I will say, customers have been very, at least here in North America, have been very understanding and accepting that scenario, and understand that we just have to kind of watch it as it goes. And we'll see what happens here next year, and we'll monitor it, and as we are this year, and hopefully we'll get through it. But I will agree with you. I think you mentioned earlier it has definitely calmed down, and I don't know if it's calmed down or we just understand it better now and are able to follow it a little bit better.
Yeah, as the years gone on, I think everybody's got a good understanding of it. But I suppose another topic that we wanted to get to today was any other emerging trends or technologies within the industry. Is there anything that you're seeing with regards to automation, artificial intelligence, anything like that being utilized within our industry?
The only thing that I've seen, David, and is because it really hasn't changed a lot. And you're always changing and upgrading equipments and things like that. But as far as industry trends, I think for me, the biggest thing is AI. I mean, it's being used in so many different areas. I'm old school. That's something that I just started, I guess, looking into here in the last, shamefully, probably the last 6 months, or maybe probably the last 6 months, and it is amazing what it can do and some of the stuff.
You're ahead of me, Rick.
Yeah. I
don't think I've even used it properly for 6 months, and I'm still not using it properly.
Yeah, I went to a conference here earlier just because I knew this was something I was going to learn on my own. So I went to a conference and they're talking about AI and what it could do, and it was for our industry, and it is really amazing what it can do. Now it scares me a little bit because I don't know how much I can trust it. But I would say for the biggest trend and I'll say on the mining side or the aggregate side, is the use of AI on all areas of what we do and what our customers do, for sure.
Yeah, and like yourself, I haven't really embraced it until recently. And even at that, I'm probably only using a fraction of its potential.
It's funny. As you're talking, I just thought I had to break down and get there's two things I hate doing in life. I hate buying new cars. I hate getting new cell phones, and I have to get a new cell phone. It's probably 10 or 15 years old. Anyway, I was talking to the lady, and she said, "Well, this will it uses AI, and it'll actually answer emails for you." And I'm like, "I don't want it to answer. I want to answer my own emails. I don't want my phone looking through my emails." But that's just the world we live in, and that's just where we're going. And like I said, I'm sure there's great value in all that stuff. But at the same time, you still need it. In my mind, you still need a human element involved in a lot of things we do. And I don't think that'll ever go away. But it's certainly interesting to see where it's taking us.
No, look, I would say we're a very hands-on industry. A lot of the people we deal with are very hands-on, and the tools, automation and AI are definitely here to stay, and they're gonna help us in the future. But I think that face-to-face element, that personal touch, is something that's important in our industry as well. Which just that kind of takes me on to another point of discussion is shows for 2026. I believe probably the first big show we're going to in 2026 is ConExpo.
Yeah. So it's one of our biggest, for North America, our biggest show. It happens every 3 years, and I think it'll be March of next year. And we're pretty excited. We're going to have our biggest booth we've ever had. Obviously, taking some equipment. All of our company brands will be there. So we're looking forward to it. You never can tell how these shows are going to turn out as far as who's signing up. You never. I'm not sure if they ever give you real data. But you just never know till you get there. But I can tell you in the past, it's always been pretty good. The booth has been busy. We have I'll call it a very robust marketing department. Marketing department does a really good job, and
they're in the background listening in and editing
yeah.
this podcast. So
yes,
well,
that's
give them a good plug.
Yes, they make us look good. But I was talking to them the other day, and they're showing us the booth, and it really looks nice. And so I'm looking forward to it. We're excited for it. We're gonna have several, I'll call them live talks with customers in our booth throughout the week. So that's pretty exciting. First time we've ever done that. I think customers will like that. Not listening to me up there talk, but actually listening to a customer that does the same thing that they do, talk about their challenges and maybe some equipment that they purchased to help their challenges. So yeah, we're pretty excited about that show for sure.
Yeah, well, same for us. I mean, we've a very busy year in 2026 in terms of shows. We're actually attending IFAT in Germany. I think it's in May, and that's going to be the first time McLanahan are attending IFAT. It's in Munich, and then in June we're going to be going back to Hillhead, which is in the UK, Hillhead Quarry in Derbyshire. So again, fairly sizable show for the UK. We're going to have equipment on display, and we're just hoping for another year of good weather. We've been really lucky the last couple of shows we've been there where we've had good weather, because again, being outdoor, if it rains, tough luck.
Nothing you can do. Yeah. You guys do a lot of outdoor shows. We don't do a lot of them here, and I know I attended one over, actually two of them over your way, and it was outdoors, which I really loved. I mean, I was fortunate; it was nice weather. I didn't have to deal with any. I know the one year I didn't go, and it was cold and rainy, and but we don't do a lot of those here in the States, at least not that I'm a part of. So, but yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good show year next year. So. Hopefully our customers do join us, and I think they will. It looks like from people I've talked to, they're going, but we won't know until we get there.
I think it's probably time to wrap up, Rick. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add to our discussion. I think it's been I think it's fair to say 2025 has been a fairly steady year. I think as a group we're happy about what we've achieved. We're both cautiously optimistic about 2026. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think like I said, I think we're very happy with what happened in 2025, but we're very we're optimistic about 2026 being similar, with hopefully a little uptick on the mining side of things. So I might be able to take some time off over the holidays. We'll see. So we'll see what happens. But I want to wish you and your family happy holidays, and your new dog. So good luck with
thanks
that.
Thanks very much. Yeah,
it should be fun. So I appreciate you hosting this, David. It's been good. It's been fun.
It's been good. No, and this actually wraps up our first season of McLanahan's Groundwork podcast. So I think we're going to take a brief hiatus for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but we're gonna be back in January. So hopefully everyone listening can join us in January for season 2. I think probably around the 15th of January, 2026. So again, happy holidays, everyone. We really do appreciate you listening to Groundwork, a McLanahan podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite listening app for new episodes, and follow McLanahan on social media for more content.